R.I.P. Tom Benson. Shout out to the whole Who That Nation. Now who that? That fever, that flavor, that funk. I say who that? That fever, that flavor, that funk. Oh, who that? That fever, that flavor, that funk. I say who that? That fever, that flavor, that funk. You got that fever? Yeah, yeah, that fever for the flavor. Got that flavor? Yeah, yeah, that flavor for the funk. You got that fever? Yeah, yeah, that fever for the flavor. Got that flavor? Yeah, yeah, that flavor for the funk. I got that fever, my people. See, we not equal, my people. I'm like that dog saint underneath the steeple, my people. Got Drew Brees, he the feature, and our defense the sequel. The D-line and linebackers, man, they coming to reach ya. Make enemies some believers, cause we overachievers. DBs see 50-50 balls and we call them keepers. Y'all can follow this leader, cause Sean Payton will teach ya.
Saints Talk listeners, what's up? We back. It's another week of Saints Talk, official podcast of NewOrleans.Football. As always, I'm here with my guy, Nick Underhill. I'm Kevin Washington. What's up, Nick? Let's do this, man. It's time to talk some football.
Let's go, man. What you got?
Let's go. Let's get into this quarterback battle. Today at practice, Taysom took the ones.
Yesterday, no practice today.
Yesterday. Yeah, my bad. Taysom took the rep with the ones. Should we look into that, or you think that's just Sean kind of following some process after the game that Jameis had? Like, what do you make of that?
Yeah, so after the last game, the Baltimore game rather, Jameis took the first team reps. Taysom started that game, and then so it's the reverse this time. So they're still going on their rotation. I mean, Sean's smart enough to know that we pay attention to all this stuff, and
yeah,
I just don't think he's probably tipping his hand yet. And you know, I think if he were to make a decision before the Arizona game, it probably would come tomorrow, Thursday.
Okay.
After the day off, a chance to review everything, kind of go through everything,
get
one last look at it. But I mean, I think he knows where he's going. I mean, you got to know where you're going at this point. It's so obvious to me that one guy has outplayed the other.
Yeah.
I think you just have to go with that decision at this point, unless for some reason they want to use game 3 as one last showdown. But
yeah,
I don't think that's necessary. I don't think that's how it's going to go. But, you know, I think that's probably something, though, that he'll probably keep under wraps as long as possible from getting out into the public. I mean, there really is no advantage of letting me and you know so that we can come on here and talk about it. I mean, it doesn't do the team really any good. I mean, they can start preparing as if and just really not put it out there and kind of keep it stifled if they want. Look, the last time when Brees was out, I figured it out Wednesday night. It didn't come out until Friday. I mean, I started hitting on it on Thursday. Didn't have it 100%, but it was, you could kind of see it a little bit. But it's the kind of thing that I think if they wanted to keep it under wraps, for the most part, they could. I mean, at some point it would leak, but it would take a little bit to get out there. So, I mean, if they want to keep the suspense going, they can keep it going. But I mean, I think we kind of know that it's got to be Jameis Winston. It has to be. I mean, there's just really no other way to go.
How good was he the other night? Like, I know you've had a chance to, and if you guys are, to all the subscribers of NewOrleans.Football, shout out to you guys. Thank you guys for the support. But we dropped a post-game pod, getting warmed up for the season, because when the season starts, that's going to be the energy every Sunday night or whenever day the Saints play. We're going to have those post-game pods coming for you guys. So we kind of had a little a little practice run there the other night. And
a little preseason game.
Yeah, exactly. Correct. And to the subscribers, they got that. I kind of inadvertently made that pod happen, and my boss wasn't too happy maybe, but we got through it, and, we're still cool. But yeah, so you guys, some post-game thoughts are there if you guys want to, we're not going to rehash everything that we spoke about there, but
you got to be signed up for the site to get that, and then there's all the other stuff on there too. NewOrleans.Football /subscribe. It's on the bottom of the screen. You're watching on YouTube. In the show notes, if you're listening to this later, sign up, support it.
Yep,
helps us do what we do here, and you get more podcasts, more content, more analysis, and hopefully stuff you can't get anywhere else. And if you are the betting type, check out our sponsor, BetUS. Bet with the 3-decade leader, BetUS. Join now for 125% bonus or 200% bonus with crypto. Use the promo code NOF125 and bet sports, casino, horses, pop culture, and more at betus.com. You bet, you win, you get paid. BetUS.
125%. Saying, man, can't get no better than that. was a bad little transition there. I'm gonna work on that. It's always room for growth. It's always room for growth. You got to get better. It's every day. It's still preseason for us.
There you go.
Yeah, and so and I've spoken to a couple of people, and they listen to the YouTube YouTube live stream. They look at that, but some people wasn't aware of the members only pod. So if you're a subscriber, make sure you're checking those out, because those are, we're dropping nuggets in there. That's game time. So make sure you check it out. Thanks, Mike, for that comment, by the way. So how good, and like I said, you've had a chance to go back and watch the film. I know, because you shared some of your thoughts with me. Thank you, because I don't get the same access that you do. How good was Jameis this game? I watched his first 3 series probably 4 times, and I got my thoughts, but I need to hear yours.
I think it was a 9 out of 10 performance. Honestly, 10 out of 10. It was about as good as you could possibly be on 10 passes. He missed one. It was a 3rd and 16. He didn't try to force anything down the field. I think Tampa Bay Jameis kind of felt like, hey, I got to dig my teammates out of this, and New Orleans Jameis was just like, let me try to get my check down and whatever. Yeah. So I thought it was an outstanding performance. The way he read defense was really good. It wasn't it wasn't something like Tom Brady level reading a defense, but he read the defense exactly how he needed to.
Exactly.
Created opportunities, made the throws he needed to make, and I thought he. I don't really think there's anything he could have done better. It was exactly a performance that's why, we published a story on NewOrleans.Football coming in at the end of the 3rd quarter, Jameis is the winner of the quarterback battle. It didn't need to go any further. And honestly, I sat on that just out of respect for Taysom. It was done, halfway through the 3rd quarter. I just wanted to give him the respect of getting out of the game before hitting publish on it, because maybe something happens. But as soon as I saw Simeon step on the field, it was out there before he hit the huddle. So it was just that good of a game, and that was kind of the thing we were waiting to see throughout the whole summer. And look, I'll go back to what we said on the second members only pod ago, the one before the game, about some of the difficulties of evaluating a quarterback battle at practice without film, sideline view. There's just things that you aren't going to be able to see about the decisions. And then in this one, you kind of, you can freeze frame some of the stuff Taysom is doing, see what he's reading, what's happening, where he's going with the ball. Yeah. There's just things that he's not doing that Jameis is. And I think that's just out of, one guy's a 7-year, 8-year NFL vet, went through college, straight in, continued playing quarterback. One guy went through college, came in the league. He's a punt protector. He's a tight end. He's a fullback. He's a quarterback sometimes. And I just think that there's just an experience gap between the two. And it's not that I'm not saying that Taysom couldn't eventually get to that level. It's just one guy's already there. And
yeah, exactly.
That's the difference.
The difference in ceiling, for what this offense can be under one guy versus the other guy, to me is it's pretty stark. It's pretty clear. I thought Jameis, with you, I thought he probably played, I don't know if there's no such thing as a perfect game, but I think he played about as well as I expected him to play. Right. And I thought the 3rd down pass to Tony Jones, he didn't put that one where he should have put it. I thought the comeback route, the Juwan Johnson, I thought he could have put that on him a tad bit earlier, but it was still a good throw. And I'm so used to Drew throwing that ball before he makes the cut, but I think it got there at the same time, because Jameis's arm is just, he has an elite arm, right? We don't need to go into detail about that. That's not a smart football comment saying Jameis has a good arm. So I think, the more comfortable he get, those things like that, those little plays like that, you'll get to see him maybe, make those, be maybe a little slightly better on those plays that he's good on, which is good. You maybe give him some chance to get some run after catch. But yeah, I thought he was outstanding. The touchdown to Callaway, I was looking at it again today just because it was just, it was just so fun to watch. And the first one. Yeah, the first one when they ran the in breaking route, or the dig on one side, and then the post to the field side, and then the post to the boundary, the first touchdown. That was, I was just watching where he threw it from, and I was like, man, it's been a while since we've seen that. So I don't really think there's too much to get into about this quarterback battle. There's a lot of other battles on the team. If you guys want to hear us talk about the quarterback battle for 25 minutes, then like I said, subscribe and go listen to the members only pod because we go in depth there. So next topic, and this is when I'm excited about this. Callaway.
Oh, hold up, let's get into this real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
How would I look? Jacksonville game, like, and if you read the game breakdown on the site, Jacksonville obviously game plan for this game. They were scheming against the Saints' weaknesses, trying to take away their strengths. It wasn't just a go out there, line up and play thing. Like, guys are getting double team, triple team. They're trying to attack them a certain way, and that's extremely unusual for the preseason. But it might just be a thing where Jacksonville's getting used to game planning because they're a new staff and they're working together, and that's part of their process to prepare for the season. So what they were doing was not vanilla at all. Like, they were playing this like a regular season game, and there's evidence of this throughout. Like, if you go through the game, it's just, if you look at what the Saints did, it's just they're kind of out there, they're doing their thing, they're running some blitzes, they aren't really scheming for anything.
Yeah,
and they're running the exact same plays they ran against Baltimore. Like, they just went out there and did what they did, and just called up their stuff and played it. And Jacksonville was attacking them as if it was a real game. So I mean, it wasn't like he was out there against a vanilla defense. Like, it was a less talented defense than Baltimore. I mean, I think that's extremely fair to say.
Yeah.
I mean, Jameis had a significant advantage there, but I mean, it wasn't just super basic, So, I mean, and again, the evidence is there. Got some of the examples on the game breakdown on the site, so check that out.
Hey, subscribe. Yeah, subscribe. So, and to that point, and I was transitioning to Callaway, and that's kind of like a good segue there. Last week he was going against Marcus Peters, and I think Humphreys covered him, maybe a player. So I need to go double check that. But those are two good corners. Humphreys is a really good corner, and Peters, he's had success in this league also. And then this week he went against Griffin, who, that was a big money guy. I mean, they paid him to come in and be one of their starting cornerbacks, and kind of, do you feel good about, like, if he was the Saints' number 2 corner, we feel pretty good about the cornerback situation, right? And so, and Callaway just worked him. I mean, he just worked him. So just, high level, and I'll give you your flowers a little bit. You've written about, hey, there's some deep playability in Callaway's game that hasn't been unlocked in this offense just due to the nature of it, based on what you saw from him in college. So just kind of speak about, what you saw back then in college and how it's translating now, and what you're seeing from him.
He led the SEC, I think, in yards per reception. I mean, that's something that translates. Like, there's like things that with college players that translates, and it's a big surprise that he didn't get drafted, just because if you look at guys like in his yardage range, yards per catch range, and the in their team's returner, like, those guys translate. And it's just something, if you go through and just look at it, those guys translate to the NFL, and those are just traits that don't go away. Like, if you can get open deep in the SEC, like, you can get open deep in the NFL. I mean, you're going against SEC cornerbacks, which are NFL cornerbacks eventually at some point. Like, a lot of them are. So that's just something that carries over, and that ability carries over, and he has good body control. He had that in college. Like, these are all things that were plain to see. It was just, he was playing, and no disrespect to the legend, but I mean, he was playing with a guy that could, needed to run 8-yard curls and 8-yard crossing routes. And that's just kind of the way they had to move the ball last year. And he did that well, but it wasn't the maximization of his game. Like, it was condensed and limited. So, I mean, I thought that was something he was going to be able to do. I mean, it's just something I thought he was going to do. I mean, I thought his projection was a little bit part of, the whole analysis behind, like, they can get by with what they have at wide receiver. And I think that's going to be true at some point. It could obviously be better. And if they knew the thing about Mike, they should have done something else. There should be another option on the team. I mean, I'm not saying that, but
they learned that in June when he came back for.
Yeah, but they should have learned it in April.
Yeah, but that was him, right? Yeah, but yeah, absolutely.
It's them too. I mean, they should have. You got to find a way to get that information. Like, you just got to know what you have and what you don't have. I'm not exonerating anybody. There's more onus on one person than the organization, but at some point, like, you got to figure it out. Like, I'm not.
Pick up the phone though. Pick up the phone.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, pick up the phone, bro.
Obviously.
Multiple calls. Like,
but when he comes back, you put him out there. You put Callaway out there. Traquan out there. Now I think he's the third guy at this point. I mean, Callaway looks to be surpassing.
He's clearly, clearly.
Maybe he battles back. Maybe the chemistry he has with Jameis elevates him to a level that we haven't seen out of him. But I think we can comfortably fairly say right now, Callaway's ahead. Traquan needs to catch up. Coming into the preseason, it was probably the opposite. And so you get those guys out there. You get Juwan Johnson doing what he can do. He should have had 3 catches in this game and then a 50, 60-yard reception from Taysom. That just never happened.
He just didn't throw it. Yeah.
Yeah. So
the ball.
I think he's going to be real good. There's the possibility of having good enough weapons where I didn't think that was the case at one point, but it's starting to look that way.
Yeah.
And a lot of that's just because Callaway's way better than I thought he was going to be. Like,
welcome to the club.
Yeah.
Welcome to the club, because I'll say this.
I need to see him go over the middle and catch a ball in traffic, though. I need to see it. I need to see it.
I know you feel that way. I know you feel that way.
Traquan will do that if he can't, but like if he can do that too, I mean, it's just, man, all right. We saw a little last year, but not enough. Like, I just want to see it like consistently. And maybe that's just not his game. I mean, and it's fine if it's not. But if he can do that, I mean, that kind of puts you on a different plane when you can do everything.
Yeah, but when you get Mike back, then that's really not a concern, right? Because if he's going to play, I mean, he's an X, like he's a straight up X, right? Beat man coverage, 1-to-1 on the outside, right? I mean, he's an X. He's not a Z. He doesn't need to play off the line of scrimmage. He doesn't need to run a route out of the slot where he has a 2-way go or anything like that. Like, he's a straight up X. So that just allows you to do more with Mike, because Mike is, I would maybe say Mike is best. I mean, Mike is a dominant X, right? He's a better X than Callaway, no question. But if you can, play Mike at X, or because they play him in the slot sometimes, they put him and AK on the same side of the field.
They're gonna move everybody all around. I mean, they don't ever keep anybody.
Exactly. But I'm just saying, like, having a guy on the outside who can win, that opens up the offense like in a different way than that. I don't think we have seen, especially when you can, push the ball downfield. So, I'm just super impressed by him. Just what are your thoughts on this? And you kind of alluded to it, but I think the notion, and I think it's fair, right? I think people who have this opinion, or either have a fair opinion, I probably share it, but that, they could have done more to address the receiver position this offseason. I've been pretty, open about my opinion on that. But after seeing Callaway, my thinking is like, oh, well, if you got Mike, and you know what this kid is.
Well, that's what they kept saying. They felt better about it than everybody else.
Yeah. So I've stand corrected. Like, if you got Mike and Callaway and AK,
I mean, you can always add to it, but
you can always add to it. Yeah. And then Traquan, I think he's I've always thought he's a number 3.
He's a great
number 3.
Yeah, that's real good. Yeah. Look, I think little Jordan Humphrey had like a real hard time too. I think he's actually maybe
switched it up a little bit.
I think he's serviceable. I think he's someone you can play. He makes tough catches. He knows how to use his body to get open. If he can be consistent, and I'm reluctant to kind of put too much on him because we've seen inconsistencies in practice. But he bounced back from a really hard week and had a really good game.
He did. You asked him a good question about that in the press conference he had too, just about like how he bounced back and recovered from that.
He got away with a little push off. Hey, if you know the guy's up there and you can get away with it, go ahead. Seems to be on the wrong side of those.
DeAndre Hopkins does the same thing. So I mean, that's what NFL receivers do, right? They push off sometimes.
he's someone though that like he knows how to like kind of use his frame at the top of the route just to get that little bump off and get it just that little bit of separation so the ball can come in. He's someone that knows how to kind of body people out a little bit. So, I mean, I think he can be a physical guy in that group too. And if he's your fourth, and you got Chris Hogan is your fifth, someone that just runs good routes, gets open.
Yeah.
It's not it's not what you're seeing in Hard Knocks with the Cowboys, but it's a decent group of players. Yeah. And if he's 75% as good as he's looked in the preseason and the season, and you get Mike back, like it's a good 1-2 punch.
That's a good 1-2 punch with Callaway. Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, Juwan Johnson has been, to me, a totally unexpected, just ray of light at the tight end position. I mean, like he's gonna that guy's gonna be hard to cover. I don't know if they're gonna have to treat him like a wide receiver. Like I just think they are, because I think he's gonna give safeties and linebackers, most of them, right? You got some guys who are a little freakish, but they're gonna have a hard time covering a guy like that. So, I do think the Saints, their thought process is off season as it pertains to their.
A lot of teams don't got 4 corners though. So even if he gets their like 4th corner.
Yeah, you got Mike and Callaway. Who you gonna? Yeah, that's a good point. And then,
they're out there in 11 personnel. The three receivers are all going to pick up a cornerback, and then putting on Johnson. It's your 4th corner,
right?
Your 3rd safety or a linebacker. Like it's advantageous in any of those situations.
It is, and also, I mean, heck, we've seen it when AK split out. Sometimes they'll put a corner on AK, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, we've seen it. So. If you don't have enough cornerbacks on the field, then Johnson or AK or somebody's going to get covered by a linebacker or safety, and now you're looking at matchups. So I see what I can understand it a little bit better now, right? And it's hard for us to see it on the outside looking in, because we don't see these players every day. But if Callaway's this, and they're not even acting surprised, like and people are like,
I was asking questions when they signed him last year. Though, I was like, are you guys going to make this guy a tight end? Because he looks like a tight end.
Wow. Yeah,
there's tweets. Yeah,
go check the receipts. Go get them.
Yeah, there's tweets. I thought he was going to be a tight end coming in. Like people were telling me that. Like I was talking to Scott, and like this guy's going to be a really good tight end, and I'm like, oh, all right. So and then no, the Saints see him as a wide receiver. Like okay, and he looked good in camp last year as a wide receiver. Like he did, but he's just great, he's a better tight end.
Much better, yeah, not great, but yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can see the return of the seam routes, man. I can see it in my head, like just. This guy running down the seam, Sean running these 3. I mean, man, I remember we watched every pass Drew Brees has ever thrown article from a long time ago in the galaxy far, far away. And, you spoke about that in there, just like how they did these 3-level stretches and, how they was able to take advantage of that stuff. And you got a 3-by-1 set receiver on the single side of the field. They can attack a deeper part of the field out of those formations. It just makes you a little bit excited about what this offense can be. And let's get to the strength of I gave it away. The strength of the offense is, I think, it's still the O-line. I mean, Jameis was back there doing his taxes. He was cutting his fingernails, checking to make sure his little mustache was real. He probably read a Bible verse or something back there, He was back. I mean, he was in that pocket comfortable, right? Comfortable. And I just think the play of the O-line, I think that's going to be the most important group on this team this year. And in this preseason, so far, so good, right?
He was still 2.4 seconds overall getting the ball out, despite, going down the field some. So that's really good. I mean, really quick decisions and still going down the field. It is something. I think they are going to be the strength of the offense. I think you play behind them. You set up your shots, your screens. I think those are the foundational elements of the offense. The running game, I think, will be a little bit more emphasized this year than in previous years. And they'll play off that, get play action going. I think it's just going to be a slightly different approach, and you kind of lean on them a little bit. The one thing I am curious about, though, is going through the season, because Jameis hasn't been historically under a 2.5 second guy. He wasn't in the first game. I think he was like 2.7 seconds getting the ball out. Breeze was always like 2.37, 2.4, 2.42, really quick getting the ball out. I think if that time goes up, I am curious to see if the pressure numbers that they give up get higher, and maybe they actually play a little bit better than they have. Like if Ruiz is good, but just that time you got to block a little bit longer. And I think one level of that protection that always helped the Saints be, considered number 1 offensive line in the league. I think part of that was how quickly Breeze was getting rid of the ball. Like there weren't a lot of times where it's like, all right, let's max protect and let this guy get 40 yards down the field before the ball comes out. It was, let's block and let someone get 6 yards down the field and let the ball go. And it's a little bit easier. This is kind of what they did the last 4 years, really. I mean, it was
just funny hearing it. Yeah, just out loud.
It was like 10 yards or less. So that's kind of what the offense was. And like we said on the members only, like that offense was good enough to win 2 Super Bowls. And so it's not a knock on it. It's just a different approach. And, I just do wonder if we'll see a little bit change in those pressure numbers. But I think the line's been outstanding through the preseason.
Really freaking good.
These are two very clean games.
And just talk about he's been picking up stunts. I mean, the areas where he struggled last year, he's not struggled this year.
He just looks he's doing his job. I mean, that's you don't notice them really. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
Like, everybody's blocked. Nobody's getting through. You aren't looking to, okay, who's doing what wrong? Like he's handling his job. Like you said, he's seeing things. He's picking it up. I know Streif has worked with him really closely. Brendan Nugent's been working with him a lot. The 2 offensive line coaches, he's taking to the coaching, seeing things better, being more confident. And I think you're seeing that on the field. And
yeah, absolutely.
We talked about it before, like kind of like our pressure point players. He was kind of my guy. And like, I kind of think if he holds it together, the offense is what it should be. And if he doesn't, I think you start to get some of that shakiness. And Jameis is getting interior pressure, hurried into decisions. That's when bad Jameis comes out. If you let everything stay calm, it's going to be easier for him to do everything the right way, or Taysom, whoever it is. It's, they aren't going to handle that pressure the same way as Breeze. So if he trusts his guard, I think it makes life a lot easier for him to just stay who he is, do the right things, and just make good decisions. So seeing him at this pace, I think that's a major reason for optimism about how the offense gets through the games while Mike is gone, because you can rely on them. You can hide some stuff, I think, just by allowing that offensive line to kind of protect you, gloss over things, take those shot plays and all that.
Yeah, they're going to make the quarterback look like a better quarterback. The receivers they got more time to get open. I can go on and on and on about it, right? So I just think those guys are important. And Ruiz, just his, you like you said, you mentioned him as a pressure point player. And he doesn't have to be like all pro, right, or even Pro Bowl. He just needs to be good
Steve. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. A good, solid player. And listen, this guy got drafted in the first round. Like when you draft a offensive guard in the first round, you're expecting him to be one of the better players at his position, and
Pro Bowler.
He should be a Pro Bowler. And hopefully he eventually gets to that. I'm absolutely of that opinion. But right now he just needs to be a good, solid player. Don't be a sieve. I mean, you're playing between Ryan Ramczyk and Eric McCoy. I mean, right? You're good, right? You're good. I mean, same thing with Pete. You're playing between Armstead and McCoy. It's like, so you just need to be solid in there, and I think that's going to. I think that's just going to benefit, the offense a lot. So,
Pete's a Pro Bowler.
Pete's a Pro Bowler. Yeah, he is a Pro Bowler. I'm a Pro Bowler. Okay. So the last thing, RB2 for the offense, at least. What do you make of the current status of Latavius Murray and his place on the roster? And do you think he may be someone they look to move or cut, or you just think it's good to have depth at a position where guys tend to get hurt?
I'm not ready to cut him. I'm not.
Yeah.
If they cut him now, I'd kind of be like, why didn't you cut him in March and keep Jackrabbit?
Maybe you know what Tony Jones was, but
I mean, you find things out in time. But I mean, man, if you had to make a decision between a cornerback and a running back, though, it felt like
that's a tough one.
I mean, there was a reason Latavius Murray was on literally everybody that talks about the team's cut list. This is how they get under the cap, and Murray was on there.
Yeah.
So, man, it's just positional value like that. That's
who needs running backs right now.
That would be tough though, man. Like if they made that cut now and then it was kind of like, but look, whatever. You find things out.
Tony Jones is better. What is the sunken cost fallacy? You just move on, right? Yeah.
You adjust to the information as it comes. I mean, I think there is a case for Tony Jones right now to be ahead of him, but who's your hammer? Can Tony Jones be that hammer if you need it?
He's 225, though, I read, which is like, really?
He's like an outside zone guy. Like that's where he's at his best. Like, I don't know. Maybe we'll see. Like those plays haven't been well blocked for anybody, like the inside zone runs and power runs and all that. Like, you look at every play, there's really nowhere for anyone to go. Like my Murray beef is the screen, not to cut it to the outside. He cut it inside. And like Ruiz and Pete, I think we're on the outside to the left, and they're like, looking like, what's going on?
Why do you go that way?
Yeah, it was crazy. Like he had the whole entire sideline.
That's a significantly like bigger play. I mean, that's like an explosive play. It would be considered an explosive play if he'd have just went to the outside.
It looked like it. It looked like it was there for him. Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, the runs really haven't been there. So I don't. That's harder for me to like. But like there's nowhere even to cut. There's nowhere to cut to an open spot. There's no hole to hit. So it's been tough, I think, for all of them. I mean, the run blocking isn't where the pass blocking is right now for the first team
Nowhere
line.
near. Yeah,
I'm not worried about it, but I just don't think I just don't think that those options have been there for. Look, Jones had an 11-yard run, so I'll give him that. Like, he had the one really good run, but outside of that, even for him, like, it was kind of like there's nowhere for him to go in that last game. So
yeah,
they need to block it a little better. I think Jones, though, if you're just going off of merit, he's ahead of him. He's played better. He's had better games. And
and Coach Payton, according to the announcers on ESPN, said as much. If you ask me right now, who's my number 2 running back, it would be Jones. So, that was listen, he doesn't just say that stuff for shock value, right? So, Clarence, shout out to Clarence for subscribing this week, man. Appreciate the support. You guys go and be like Clarence. Right, he's like the role model for everyone and everyone listening right now. So, appreciate that, man. So, but before we move on to the defensive side of the ball, just what are your thoughts on this tight end position? You think they maybe look to make a move and bring some guy in? It seems like they tried to grab some guy off the waiver that they was not able to, get someone got it before them. But what do you make of the situation with Vanette and Troutman being out for 3 weeks? And kind of just, maybe tell everyone what's going on with the situation with those 2 players and, what you think may happen there.
Yeah, they tried out 3 today and then didn't sign them. And the message of some of them was that those situations weren't necessarily as dire as they thought they could be. I still think they could probably try to bring somebody in at some point. But Van Nett's going to be out 2 to 4 weeks of actual time, not game time, actual time, 2 to 4 weeks from now. So probably early into the season,
maybe week 1, week 2.
Yeah, but he'll be back at some point. Troutman is going to see a specialist tomorrow, which would be, what's today? We're recording on the wrong day. Thursday.
Today's Wednesday. Tomorrow's Thursday the 26th.
So he's going to see him tomorrow. The initial timeline right now is 1 to 3 weeks. They still don't think it's going to be a big deal, but getting a second opinion, maybe there's a difference of opinion. Someone finds something somebody else did, and that timeline gets bigger. But right now, 1 to 3. So there's some optimism there. Garrett Griffin has been hurt. He's going to practice tomorrow. So it's bad, but it's not bad. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that makes sense. It's bad that you're going to be without people and possibly into the season. Yeah. It's not bad in the sense that, like, it's a long-term thing, but it's another hit for a team that's had a lot of hits. But, you go in with Johnson, Ethan Wolf, Garrett Griffin, maybe you get by for a couple of weeks.
It's bad with a path to better. Yeah. Maybe that's the way to look at it.
Yeah, it's not like, but, you see people getting season-ending injuries and stuff.
Right, exactly. Right? Yeah, exactly.
So a game or 2 is relatively minor.
Not ideal, but
yeah.
And then we got to realize they got this week, and then there's 2 weeks because the preseason game 4 is gone, the 4th preseason game, but they're still.
I hate to say this, but they might have another guy joining the tight end room too. So.
Oh. All right. Well, you heard it here first.
Well, I mean, if Jameis is the quarterback.
Yeah. No, I mean that's true. If they know that, then you don't need to make a move. So that's, I just wonder. Like, part of me wonders. Like, he's, is his body right for that this year? Right. That's what I'm just not sure.
Might take some time to get there. Yeah. I mean, it might, but
yeah. That's what I'm wondering. He's probably down a few pounds. My guess is he's not as big as he was before, and how would that affect him? And, does in his mind, I mean, I'm pretty sure he's going to do what he's asked, but, does he want to be a quarterback? Does he want to change his body? Does he, reload for next offseason? So it's
the one thing that surprised me a lot is that it seems like there's this like growing narrative that like he's like a bad guy that doesn't like, and it's coming off a quote from 18 months ago.
Oh, I know where that's like, Saints don't want me to be a quarterback. I'll be a quarterback somewhere else.
He was a restricted free agent, so he's going to exercise that option and try to get the opportunity to be a quarterback somewhere. I mean, that's just how you play that. That's how you play it. You don't take a job that you don't want, right? So if they don't want me to be a quarterback and wait, I'm restricted and I don't really have the options, I'm going to try to gain some leverage by telling them I don't want to do this, so they let me go. And I can get a job elsewhere. That's how you play that. He's had the opportunity to compete. I think he's probably honest about where he is within it. Probably disappointed and upset if he ultimately doesn't get the job. And I can totally understand it. It's a lifelong dream for someone, and it's ending, to some extent, at least temporarily. And that's got to be devastating. In a spot where you probably felt like you had that inside track. They talked about you like you had that inside track. then ultimately you don't end up with a job. So I could see him being upset. I
Yeah,
don't see him being like, but like people are talking about him like, oh, he's selfish. How is this guy selfish? He's had a dream of being a starting quarterback and he's out there blocking on punts, returning kicks.
Yeah,
He is the opposite of everything he's exhibited of a selfish player.
Exactly.
And look, I haven't talked to him about how he will handle it if it does go to Jameis. But just on history, I would be surprised if there's a reluctance.
Yeah, to play those other positions and help the team in a different way, other than the way that's ideal for you.
Right, unless his body isn't right to do it right now, because he has changed his body composition. But like this idea that he's like selfish, I'm like, I keep seeing people tweeting about. I'm like, what do you like? No, like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, to make up stories at this point. Like, if he does something to bring that about, but to this point, it has been the absolute, like, he has sacrificed and risked himself. Like, you aren't going to see Aaron Rodgers out there doing something that's going to put his body at risk. You know what I mean? Like, people just don't do, and obviously he's not the big enough athlete to do it, but just most guys that want to be quarterbacks would not be doing what he's doing, because a hit blocking a defensive end, like you could
tear something up.
Jalen Dalton just tore his triceps. You know what I mean? Like being in the trenches, like you got a quarterback in the trenches. Most guys aren't going to risk themselves doing that. So, maybe he declines it. Maybe something happens. Maybe it changes. But to this point, like, it is extremely unfair to be having that conversation before there's a reason to have it.
I think so. And I mean, he's paid well, right? I mean, I'm not trying to look at anyone's checkbook or anything, but I think it's in his best interest and the team's best interest that, if that doesn't work out in one front, then, there's other ways. And I'm pretty sure he'll have quarterback packages too. And then we'll see what happens from there. But I think you do make a good point that there may be, your other tight end may already be on the roster. And so you can weather the storm with those guys who you have injured until, you get healthy there and you start to get some guys back. So, while we're on injuries, talk about Crawley injury and, kind of what's the prognosis there and what's the time frame of him being out.
It sounded like he should be okay for the opener.
Okay.
But I don't know for sure. There was further tests being done and everything, and I didn't catch an update. But before the tests were done, it seemed optimistic. So, I didn't write it out there as if he's going to play the opener, but since we're talking about it and in context, and don't aggregate this and say I said it as a report. I'm saying it's something I heard, but I didn't hear it strong enough to report it. So
I see.
There's optimism, but I didn't catch the update, so I honestly don't know.
I got it. Okay, yeah, all right. So let's move to the other side of the ball, and this time we'll work the secondary to the defensive ends, since we always start with the defensive ends. Just talk about how Crawley played that game, and that breakup that he made in the end zone. I was like, woo, that was a nice play, right? I mean, he's been good. Like, I'm just like, I feel guilty because I'm waiting for him to like regress, and like I said, I feel guilty about that, but he hasn't. He looks like an NFL cornerback.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's how he's played all summer, and that's kind of the low key hype on Crawley, and obviously it's tempered a little bit because we've seen the sequels and kind of
the sequels.
Part 2 wasn't as good as part 1, but he's figured it out. It seems like they did the reboot and they found the magic of the original, and he's been playing that way, man, and he looks really.
It's like the Thor Marvel movies, right? The first Thor was good, the second one, Then the third one came back with Hulk in there, and it was like, woo, got something here.
They're on, Rocky was good. Now that they just rebooted with Creed. And
I knew you was going there.
Yeah, but I mean, look, he's been really good. Like in practices, he's shutting stuff down. He's shutting guys down in these games. It's covering different people.
He's looked good.
Position that he had the pass breakup.
He's looked good.
He's looked really good. It's unfortunate that he got hurt because I mean he really has momentum, and
I think he's the type of guy who I think he'll be he's been in the league long enough to where he's not like losing time on his development from being out over a couple of weeks though.
But
so
like just the momentum and the confidence and just feeling good about your body and feeling good about everything going into it, like would be more ideal. I don't think it's something that's going to affect him. I think Crawley's kind of
he's probably like pretty mentally tough after everything though, right?
Yeah, I think that he's even like found something else in that department. Like he just seems different in interactions. Maybe he's Look, he might even be a little mad at everybody for the way they talk about him, which
he said, he kind of alluded to, like, yeah, I feel like I got something to prove, but I'm not listening at the same time. I don't know what that means, but it's on his, maybe Davenport gave him some books or something, man. I don't know. Maybe he's reading and it's like all good now.
I mean,
like
look,
he's got his inner peace, you know?
They know what people are saying, man. It's out there. And
that's true.
Yeah. I mean, if it doesn't, you know, it affects some people one way, and it's kind of weird how, like, this, like, I don't want to get into this, but like,
I know where we're going. Yeah.
The way people talk on social media, like, has
and all the people who they like bash are like balling now too, which is like, you know, like Bond got his heat, and you know, I'll criticize the guy as what he do on the football field, but like sometimes Twitter, man, it gets like it's bully season, like for real.
It gets to be a little much.
It's pretty nasty. It's pretty nasty, right? And so, you know, Bond, Ruiz, I mean, Davenport, these guys, man, you know, Crawley's heard a lot of this stuff, and these guys are playing well. And I was like, oh, you know, hi, friend. It's like, wait, bro. I remember that, you know. So, well, it's all good. It's all good. 22 played a pretty good game. This
he did. He looked all right.
He was explosive, man.
You just mentioned Davenport. Davenport had.
Oh, we getting to him. Yeah, we'll get to him. Yeah, we'll get to him. I want to talk.
Whole defense looks really good, man.
I tweeted like 3 times during the game. I was like, these dudes are fast. They're fast, and they play like they know they're good. Like there's a difference. Like they just out there like kind of like bullies, right? And I feel like that side of the ball is going to probably have to carry the team this year, right?
Do they have to carry the team?
Well, they can, right? I mean, I think they're still a better unit than the offense.
Yeah.
I'll say that. So that let me rephrase it. I think the defense will. Right now, it looks like, well, I don't know if Jameis is playing like that, but right now they look like the strength of the team. If you're comparing, like,
yeah, no, definitely the strength of the team, but I don't think that like the offense needs to be placed inside the wagon and dragged down.
Right, yeah.
The offense looks a little bit, more competent. I'm more optimistic about the offense now. And I know it's the preseason. I know it's the Jags. I know it's the Ravens. Yeah. I know that it's 9 good throws from Jameis Winston. So it's all very reluctant and cautiously said, but I feel a little bit better about. And really, it's all because of Callaway at this point.
Yeah, and Jameis.
Callaway emerging, yeah, and the glimmers from Jameis.
Ruiz, the offensive line. I mean, there's a few areas.
I feel a little bit better.
Juwan Johnson. I mean, let me stop.
Yeah, but I feel a little bit better about the offense, and I feel much better about the defense than the offense. Mm-hmm. But I just wanted to make it clear we weren't like saying that like
absolutely good catch, because it was gonna be like
they're like the dead leg,
right. Kevin and Nick think the offense sucks and the defense they're gonna be the 85 Bears or something. Good catch. How did the Debo play this game? Because I know you watched him and you was kind of zeroing in on him a little bit. What did he show any growth?
Yeah, his press looked good. I thought his press looked real good in this game. Again, it's always when he's crashing down, he looks amazing.
Yeah.
A couple things in coverage that I think he still needs to clean up.
At one play,
he's playing good, man. He's playing pretty good. I mean, I think he's further along than anyone kind of expected him to be coming into it. And for a 3rd round pick, I mean,
that's a. I mean, if he was let me ask you this question: if he was a 1st round pick, would the hype be crazier? And
no, I don't think so, because I mean, I still think he's getting outplayed by Crawley.
Okay.
I think Crawley's been better than him. I mean, it's not like it's not a massive difference, but I think Crawley's been better than him.
Okay. All right. So now the closing question in the secondary. Cornerback 2 was a gigantic gaping wound, right, in the body of the New Orleans Saints at the start of this offseason. Do you still feel that way, or do you think like, man, all right, like I think they may be okay, or is it like, no, you still gotta bring in a guy, or like where do you stand on that position now after what you've seen thus far? Training camp, 2 preseason games.
Man, that's tough, because like I don't have that kind of faith in anybody yet for 17, where I would say this guy's locked and loaded. Like, but Janoris Jenkins, you knew you were good.
Yeah, that's fair. Games. Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know that yet. Like, I think that Crawley could be good the whole season. That everything we're seeing is there, but
he's done it once.
Yeah, but we've also seen fluctuation. So it's just kind of, you kind of got to see it. Debo, I don't know what he could be. I don't know when people kind of. I see some things watching now. is Bill Belichick, like, what's he going to see? What's Josh McDaniels going to see?
I got it. I got you.
Yeah. What's Green Bay going to see? So, I mean, there might be things there that could get exposed as the season goes along. So, but maybe not at the same time. So I just don't have that level of confidence yet. But overall, the cornerback group, like, I think they need more players, period.
I agree with you. Who's the fourth corner?
Probably Grant Haley, and he didn't have a good game. I mean,
yeah, he didn't have a good
Jamerson
game.
didn't have a good game. Brian Mills gave up some stuff.
Jamerson was like, oh man.
Poles on IR. I didn't think Poles was going to make the team anyhow, but
yeah. I don't know who the fourth corner is right now. I mean, PJ Williams.
Yeah, it's probably PJ. I mean,
what's P-Rob doing?
they got to. I think they got to grab just depth. Period. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be someone that's going to be better than Crawley or Debo. If you can, awesome, do it. But I mean, I think they just got to strengthen up that depth chart, and then a lot of more things still up in the air. As we've been saying all along, it sounds like if anything's going to happen, it would be later than right now. But you never know; it could come at any minute, or it could not come at all. So that thing's just a mystery to everybody right now. So that, but as long as that's lingering over, like, you got to have that contingency, and you got to have that depth there. So they got to find somebody else.
They do. Yeah. I feel better. I'll say this. I feel better about the cornerback position than I did coming into the offseason. I think that's where I stand. Yeah, that's where I stand. And I
thought it was a wide open hole at one point.
I thought it was like a potentially fatal wound, right? It was like, and the Saints felt the same way. They were trying to trade, next 3 drafts for a player, right? And I mean, I say that jokingly, but it definitely feels like they had some guys in house who stepped up and kind of addressed that position to the point where you felt like you can get by. And
I mean, they were trying to make trades during camp. I mean, it was just
there you go. How did Bond play this game?
I mean, it wasn't Lawrence Taylor again, but it was good. I thought he played pretty good overall. I mean, his blitzing is crazy. There's a couple things in the run game that I thought could have been a little bit better, but very small amount of snaps. So like one mistake stands out a little bit more. But I thought he was good. I thought he was solid, fast. I like where he's going.
Looking good. Pistol Pete coming back this week, huh? Or is he close?
No, he was in team drills this week.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, their linebacker depth is. I mean, you've spoken about it. I think since day 0, but they're loaded. They go like 5 or 6 deep. I mean, you got
it's like 8 or 9, man. Like Wynton
McManus.
Wynton McManus is making plays and not on special teams too. Like he's someone in a normal year with what he's doing on defense and special teams, you'd be like, oh, this guy has a good chance to make the team. Like I don't see a path right now, and that's crazy. Andrew Dow has a he's someone that in the normal year with how he's in the run game and special teams, like you'd find the spot for him. I don't know if there's a path there. Chase Hansen, in a normal year, he's probably locked in. He was locked in last year.
Yeah,
he's up in the air between him and Dow. Like it's just the guys they're going to cut players that belong on NFL teams, like legitimately, and that's not a reality that's been here for the Saints. 7, 8, 9, 10 ever. Like I don't know if it's ever like really been a
thing. It's crazy. I mean, that's the position that I still think DeMario. I mean, listen, I'm not saying anything crazy. That guy got to stay healthy. He's a tier above everyone else, but you got to feel like if they have to replace maybe the second linebacker or something along those lines, then they'll be fine. And I just want to apologize to my man Bob. Bob told me PETE, not PEAT. So
Pete Werner. Yeah.
Let me make sure I don't get in trouble with the man. Shout out to Bob, man. Shout out to Bob. Okay, so Peyton Turner, will we see him anytime soon? It sounds like he's not.
I keep being told it's not a significant injury.
He's keep not practicing, and it's like, where is he? Right?
Yeah. When they were practicing outside, like people were just getting those heat, soft tissue injuries, and I think that's
kind of what made it
there. Yeah.
Just remind us how he was looking before, because I mean,
he was looking good. He was looking good. Good progress. All that. Yeah. I mean, the main thing is like hopefully he said himself. So it wasn't just I was happy when he said this because like in one of the practice reports I said he looked gassed and I felt bad for saying it.
I remember that.
He said he looked gassed, so he felt gassed. So yeah, hopefully he's just keeping that up and all that. But
okay.
Yeah, he was looking good. His technique was ahead of where I thought it would be.
Yeah.
I talked privately to some people that were blocking him, and they said his blocking or his technique was ahead of where they thought it was going to be. So
yeah,
all that, yeah, it's been he was looking good. So he comes back to that group. I mean, they got one too many.
They got no such thing as with pass rushers, but I get what you're saying though. I totally get what you're saying.
I mean, there's
they're 5 deep.
There's a tradable asset there though.
Yeah, that's true. They're 5. I mean 6 if you count Onyemata because man, he looks good as a defensive end, bro. It's like what is going on with this dude? Like the announcers got caught in the hype mic saying Onyemata has no business on the field right now. I mean, he was treating these
yeah, he was giving pressure every play. Like,
right. It was so crazy from defensive end. Like he's shimmying on dudes. I'm like, bro, he's just clowning right now. No, that dude he's a good football player, man. Like he's doing what he should be doing. He's doing what he should be doing. It's a shame that he's gonna miss those 6 games because man, I feel like this year would have been like he would have had a crazy year, man. I just felt like his year would have been crazy. So yeah, he can come back. I mean, he'll be fresh. So he's probably gonna come back fresh and angry. I mean, he's probably, I don't know, my man gonna do. Just stay healthy, go and I don't know, whatever you do, man. Just get out there, keep it together, come back ready to. I mean, this guy's probably bench pressing cows or something. I mean, this dude is strong, man. Like, and he looks strong. Like he just looks like a strong dude, which is fine to play inside. But when I saw him moving like that on the edge, I was like, man, he looks like he can do it. So shout out to Onyemata, man. I'm glad he's still here. The interior D line, they lost Dalton for the year with a torn triceps.
Fully.
I mean,
last year was half
partially torn. Yeah, I feel so bad for him, man. I feel bad for him. He was playing well. He was gonna make the team.
Such a nice dude too. I mean, it just I don't know. I felt bad for him. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was listening to him talk on the podium after the game, and I'm with you. It's just like he sounded like and I was like, man, okay, I want to root for him. And then next day, it's like, man. So would you say that he was probably the?
Oh, he was starting.
Oh, so he was that's a starter they lost there.
Yeah, he was starting.
He's going to be 3 tech starter.
He was going to be the starter. Yeah,
that's a big loss. Yeah, that's a big loss. That's a big loss.
Yeah.
Who do you think steps into that spot? Because I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I have been really concerned about the interior D line the entire.
Ringo's rushed better and more consistently in the preseason games than Dalton. Dalton was doing a little bit better against the run. I think he was going to get there. He was consistent pressure in practice, but just translating into the game, Ringo's done a little better job. Yeah. I think Ringo's probably, if they stand pat, I think they got to try to get some other people. But
hey, little Shelly balling in New York, man.
I read that. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it, but yeah, I read that,
man. Yeah. I ain't buying it, man. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I hope he is. I like to be right about him, but yeah, I think they need to bring in a guy there. There's some vets there. Kwan Shore, Geno Atkins is the obvious one I've been talking about, but I'm with you. I think they got to make a move there. It's just not a good situation there, especially now with Onyemata. Like you lost 2 starters there, and Malcolm Brown from last year. So you kind of
their depth there has been better than expected, though. I mean, it was until it started getting torn through. Malcolm Roach is hurt too. He'll hopefully be back at some point too. He's playing really well. Like he's got that spot held down if he's healthy. Dalton was going to be good enough to hold it down until you kind of got back to where with Onyemata back and everything. But I think losing him is a big deal.
It's a big deal, yeah.
Ringo would be the next guy up, and then Albert Huggins, and that injury, if they don't sign somebody else, probably saves Shy Tuttle. And if he can get it together, like we've seen him be good. If he can just he can get back to where he was as a rookie, like he's a playable player. But
absolutely.
He's just not been that so far.
Yeah, you're right. That might have saved his, I don't want to say career, but season on some level, because he definitely seemed like someone who had not been, playing so well as of late. I'm trying to think how I want to approach this. Like talking about it puts it in the air, but it's been a talking point. So there's some 94 criticism out in the ether. And, I just think it's the wrong time to be trying to analyze what he is right now in the preseason. Cam Jordan, that is. I just think it makes sense to it's fair to question, like, okay, he's getting older, so it's fine to say, okay, is this guy still what he was? But I don't think a preseason game where he was doubled 4 of 6 times, I think what you told me, is a good and fair medium to maybe try to judge what he is or isn't.
You can't even have the conversation. You got double or triple team on 4 or 6 pass rushing snaps.
Yeah. So
that's it. Next topic.
Yeah, just wait till the season, guys.
Yeah.
Wait till the season.
You don't have the information yet. I don't know how you can make that assessment. Like, what do you base?
I don't know what is going off neither. I've spoken to a couple of people like, hey man, just the snaps. Don't look at the snaps, look at the game, and you won't have that opinion. But
yeah, coming off that game, like I just don't know what
you can't. Yeah, you can't have that opinion. Yeah, and this guy,
like he was legitimately triple teamed at one point.
We're not letting Cam beat us
in a preseason game.
In a preseason game, yeah. No, I'm with you. All right, let's talk about 92. We always finish with 92. It seems either finish or start with him. How do you look this game?
He looks amazing, man. He looks amazing.
He's giving that left tackle hell, bro. Like he bullied that guy. Like that's like abuse what he did to this guy. My goodness.
He just looks amazing. He's doing everything. Yes. He's disruptive like every play. It feels like not literally every play, but almost every play. Like, yeah.
He's been the best player on this team in the preseason games. Like no one's been better than him in the preseason games. I'm sorry. You can say him and Baum were 1-1 the first game. This game, he kept it up. He's been outstanding. I mean, this is just preseason we're talking about. It's got to happen in the season. That's when I'm gonna really start believing.
It's him or Callaway are the 2 best players on the team right now.
That's probably fair. That's definitely fair. Yeah.
He's on defense. He's been the best. He's been the best player on the team.
Best player on the team. Yeah. So in preseason,
again, it's always he's in that Crawley category. You got to prove it. You got to prove it. You got to prove it. And week 10, he's got to keep going. He's got to finish the season. But I mean, I'm not going to act like he's not good. And I'm not going to sit here and be like, well, I don't know if he can be good. Like he looks like he can be good. That's how we're going to talk about him because that's what he's doing. I mean, you gotta allow for him to meet that potential and talk about it,
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't want to like
I'm not trying to hear that I didn't make the bed 4 years ago at home. You know what I mean? So like you know what I mean? Like that's what it feels like. You just got to talk about and he's doing the right things right now. So
I feel you. Yeah. Like, come on, man. We moved past that, didn't we? Like,
I'll fix that.
I'm reformed. Like, I'm reading books and posting Instagram photos of him, bro. You don't see me? Like, come on, bro. Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, he's disrupting offensive plays. We can have a sack conversation, and I'm cool with having a sack conversation. But if you give me a guy who's disrupting the timing and rhythm of the quarterback, affecting plays and affecting his ability to get the ball out on time, give me that player every day, right? That's the goal, right? That's the goal. So he's
like we were talking about yesterday, and I mean the sacks aren't the end all be all, but you got to have some of both.
You got to have some of both, absolutely.
Yeah. But I'm not going to knock on the door constantly, like because last year he was knocking on the door a lot, but the door never opened. Like you got to open the door sometimes. You don't have to have 12 to have a good season, but if you're knocking on the door, like there needs to be a certain percentage of those that turn into something because it's just that's quality like the quality of your pressure. At some point, you have to start getting sacks if you're getting quality pressure.
That's fair. That's a fair point, but I mean, looking at these games, man, like the quality of these pressures are really good, and it's not been no sacks, but he's stopping successful plays. Like the plays are not working because of one man, right? And so if he plays like this all year and doesn't get a sack, it's not ideal. It's not perfect. I'm gonna criticize the fact that there's not sacks, but I'm also gonna say, man,
like he should have shed that one bull and got it.
He should have done. Yeah, I think he didn't disengage early enough. Like it was almost like, man, like leave that guy alone and go get his friend, right? Like he drove him too far back, which I mean, I'd rather be coaching that than And I mean, we mentioned it. I think we mentioned it on maybe the last pod. We potted so much lately. You guys go subscribe, by the way. That Teron Armstead saying he had the best bull rush, and I mean Teron doesn't just say stuff to be talking, and it's sure looking like he he's on to something there. So if you guys, I got one more question for Nick. If you guys got any questions, real quick, put them in chat, and if they're really, really, really good, we'll get to them. But I got one kind of final mini topic I want you to address before we go. And I had someone, I forget who sent it to me in chat. I mean, in a DM today. But does your view on the season, like, because I know before the season we had a certain perspective, and then I think Onyemata got hurt, and then the cornerback position, and it's like, okay, well, it's looking a little weird right now. It was the data changed, right? And now I think the data has changed again. So based on like today, like, and I'm not saying don't give me a record prediction because I don't really like predictions. People like hamstring them on you. But just like your prognosis of the season, is it kind of like on the up again after some of the recent things that you've seen from this team?
I mean, I just think I've been, before we did it, I was pretty confident that they'd win 10 games. I still think feel the same level of confidence towards 10 games, maybe a little more confident in 10.
Yeah.
I can't remember what we said before, but I think I was at like a 7.5 out of 10 that they would win 10 games when we did that. I mean,
yeah, I think
I'd probably move up to 8.5. I mean, I feel pretty good about that 10 win point for them at this. Yeah.
They're a good team, man. And they're just a good team across the board for the most part, right? Of course, they have some weaknesses, but yeah, I'm with you. I think they're a good team, and you got to feel good about like the direction they're going and the fact that they're going to be able to win,
In the way that the defense is playing, I think they're just going to, like, some of those lucky, quote unquote, lucky breaks. I think they're just going to kind of, when you're flying around and you got guys that move like
things
that,
happen for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
People
that's
get rushed into bad decisions and interceptions, and your linebackers jump things that maybe other linebackers in the past wouldn't have jumped. So I just think some of those things are going to go their way this year.
That's true. Man, I'm excited to watch Sean just.
And when Quan gets hurt if Quan gets hurt at some point, doesn't finish the season, I don't feel, or if a linebacker goes down, like there's depth there where there wasn't last year. Yeah. It's just cornerback, man.
It's that position, right?
Yeah.
Cornerback, tight end, and defensive interior, or I would probably look at those three spots and say, what do we have there? I mean, tight end Johnson has shown some things. I'm really worried about the defensive interior, but the saving grace there, I think, can be that they are still.
I think your linebackers help you hide that too, though.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think they're going to probably stop the run, and I think they're going to be in these nickel situations where you got Bun and Demario Davis blitzing, through A gaps, which you want that, and you got some guys on the defensive line that can rush the passer, and you'll be able to move some guys around. So I think stopping the run and getting to nickel downs will help them in that area without having like a dominant rusher there, at least until Onyemata gets back and is able to provide more rush. Because I'm looking to see what they're going to do with him. I mean, I got a feeling they're going to have him rushing outside, stunting inside. I just think that seeing him play defensive end, you can't look at that film and say, all right, I'm doing the same thing. Like you got to take advantage of some of that skill set. So I'm interested to see what they're going to do with him. And I'm just excited to watch this offense play with more field. And again, like you said earlier, this is not no disrespect to the legend, because there's that will never happen here. But it's an exciting prospect to have, just to see like Sean get back into that bag where he's running these, he got these clear out routes, he's got more field to play with, he's going over the top. He's like just watching, like, and I know you did this because I did it, so I know you did it, but just I went and watched, like, whenever the Saints make like a big play or something, I'll go and watch and try to find the setup plays, and you can just kind of see Sean, like, and I think Pete is calling the plays, but they do all this stuff together, like watching the previous plays set up the big play, right? And I think the play before that, it was like a play action pass to Murray, and then they came back with another play action and took the shot on a two-man route. It's just fun to see like how he brings those things together and how he's coaching these things up. Like that play just didn't happen. Like they designed that play to happen. So it's just exciting to be able to kind of see him, get back into that type of coaching instead of having to keep everything short. So that's my rant for the day. So all right, you guys. If you guys want to, please sign up before we finish recording, because that's how we eat. So to all you guys, thank you guys for supporting. Go check out the site. Risers and Fallers on the site. Risers and Fallers on the site today. if you go sign up, you will be able to find the post game pod that is very, very, very relevant today. That information is still valid. So go check that out. The film study is on there. If you want to go back and look at some old stuff about what Nick was saying about Callaway a while back, go check that out. All the receipts are there. Everything you need, go read it, man. Go sign up. Thank you guys for joining the chat. We had more of you guys in here today. So let's keep that up. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Everything you can do to support NewOrleans.Football. Buy a shirt, make you look big. Everything you can do, man. We appreciate you guys' support. Thank you guys for joining us. And with that said, we will see you next week. We out.